There's been a recent trend in album cover design, and if you're a digital artist, you're probably not all that surprised by it. That is AI art album covers. Now, I think this is interesting. It's definitely within the wheelhouse of conversation on this channel. As you guys know, if you follow me, I have made plenty of videos about AI art and kind of the philosophical things behind it and ethical things even. But more specifically, I want to answer the question, will AI album art be a trend? I'm Jordan Needham, this is Jham 3D, and let's get into this. So there's been many examples of AI album art so far, and I know that we don't all listen to the same music, but just a few examples that I've seen personally: August Burns Red, Make Them Suffer, and Termina. These are all like metalcore bands. Outside of metal, I've seen a couple more. There's this artist called Unlike Pluto and Call Me Charisma. I saw those on Spotify. Again, has nothing to do with the actual music of what they're making, but just to say that this is a thing, it is happening, and those are relatively large bands, and so it's coming, and I think pretty soon it's going to be entering the mainstream of album art design, so why not talk about it now? So will this be a trend? In my opinion, I think parts of this AI art design will become a sort of cheesy 2022 2023 trend. In other words, I don't think it'll age too well, and in particular the style that I'm talking about is like the midjourney patchy sort of abstract painterly style, which you can see in almost every midjourney image, because a lot of these album covers are using like base midjourney. They're not, what I mean by base is they're not like really pushing the limits of midjourney and making it look hyper realistic or anything. They're just using the kind of default midjourney style. So the reason that I think this style will be a trend is because we're in an interesting time right now where people's reactions to it are really strange. First, you have the most popular category right now, I would say, which is that the people that see the album cover, most of them are unaware that it's AI. So that's category A. Category B is people that do know but don't care if it's AI at all. And category C is people who do know it's AI but feel odd or kind of weird. They haven't made up their mind about how they feel about AI art. And I believe category A is the most popular one, but I also believe that category C is going to increasingly grow in popularity. Will it dominate? Will it be the most popular? Maybe not. But if we're saying 46-50%, then you have a large group of people that are not really sure if they can get behind AI designs. In particular in this setting, because this isn't like corporate art, corporate design. This is like, we are coming to you to give us like amazing art, stuff that you spent hours and hours perfecting, stuff that we really admire, the craft that you do. It's a little bit of a different consumption. Your expectations are a little bit different than if you're just seeing a standard Nutella ad or something. In other words, it isn't like a corporate ad where I honestly could give less of a fuck about how it was made, because I don't care. Like, get your ad out of my face. This is a time where I'm going out of my way to go get entertained and to admire some art. I think it's fair to say that a lot of people that get behind artists, they definitely are a little more interested and they do care more about the actual creation process of their artwork. And oftentimes the people that learn more and more about the creation process, the more obsessed, the more supportive they get of that person. Whereas when somebody learns that a really cool image is actually AI generated, I think oftentimes a lot of people lose interest. It's sort of the opposite effect. Whereas when I learned that somebody spent 30 years on a painting, I go, holy shit, like, reward this guy for all that dedication and hard work on this fantastic masterpiece. Whereas, you learn that somebody spent 3 seconds typing an image, or hell, maybe just used a random prompt generator and generated an image. It's like, cool image, cool technology, cool. What else can I say? I do believe that this style, the midjourney style of AI art, won't age well, because as people learn that it's AI, they'll be a little less interested. I've seen a lot of people commenting like, oh, this is a masterpiece. And then somebody replies to that like, hey, it's AI art, just so you know. And then they feel less obligated to say it's a masterpiece. They feel less, what's the word? they feel less passionate about congratulating it because a robot made it. And then it just creates this whole controversial back and forth in the comments. And again, mixed reactions. And so when a lot of people learn that like an album cover design is AI generated, I think a lot of us just feel like, really, bro? Like, I don't know. Like, come on. Maybe it's acceptable, but it also is kind of weird. It's like, maybe put a little bit more effort into something that's a permanent piece of art for you. My message towards these musicians is simply just to be mindful of how this may affect your audience, because I don't want to be the guy that's saying like, hey, you shouldn't use AI art or you should use AI art. I don't want to be the guy that's saying what you should or shouldn't do, but I think it will create somewhat of a rift between your audience, and I think it could be controversial, like very controversial. And to the terms of like when Auto-Tune first came out, there were people that lost a lot of credibility in their fan bases because they were using Auto-Tune, where now that's kind of changed a bit. I think people have accepted that. However, I don't know that this will be accepted in the same way. And actually, this is even more controversial than Auto-Tune, because it's not like you're laying down legitimate natural vocals and then using AI to enhance what you actually did. You are instead maybe typing a prompt. Maybe you came up with a prompt, or maybe the bot came up with the prompt and then created the entire art piece. So very little, I mean, this is controversial. People hate when people say this. Very little dedication, skill, technique, fine art skills went into the creation of that image. Roast me in the comments, that's fine. But that's my honest opinion. I think a lot of people feel that way because in some cases you didn't even create the prompt. So what did you actually create? And then you're gonna go on and take credit for the entire thing. It's kind of just feels disingenuous. The disingenuous, dishonesty kind of factor to this is a topic for a whole nother video, and I hope to get to that someday. This is a permanent piece of artwork which is supposed to symbolize or signify what you did on this, say, 10, 15 track record. And it's a highly emotional record, probably. You put a lot of heart into it, and I just think it's a little strange to, all right, let's just speed run an album cover. Let's just get like the most quick, snappy, easy album cover we can get and then put it out there just because it looks cool. I would much rather personally, if I had the resources and the money to do so, or the time to do so, I would much rather that piece of artwork be more meaningful. And now meaning is subjective. You can check out a video that I've done on that. But I would go on a limb and say that maybe typing a prompt and then having it spit something out and then calling that really meaningful, kind of a stretch to me. I think it would be more meaningful if you had an artist behind it who's like a precision kind of guy, super deep into technique, and spends hours and hours perfecting this design. That would seem more meaningful. It seems like something that I would be able to look back on 10, 20 years from now and be like, I feel good about that. Whereas we don't know about how this is gonna feel. In some ways, kind of feels like using a standard stock photo that you found on the internet as your album cover. Maybe you can do it, but is it the most meaningful thing? Is it the correct thing to do? Like, is it the smart thing to do? It's a little up in the air right now. Now, I almost forgot somehow the most, I don't know, one of the core reasons that I had coming into making this video was that I think a lot of artists, a lot of musicians are seeing AI design, AI art as like, oh, this is the future. So we have to adapt. We have to adopt this technology and be part of the future. We're gonna be so revolutionary, god damn it! Yeah, this is revolutionary. We're on the cusp of innovation, guys. But I think in reality, a lot of it is going to age, as in like, oh, they picked up the midjourney trend too. Cool. And people moved on to less noticeable AI generated designs, because again, AI art is not going anywhere. Very soon every single human art form is going to be, for lack of a better word, replaced by AI. I don't think it'll ever be totally replaced, but it'll be, in the crosshairs of AI. AI will be able to, for instance, completely generate amazing music off of simple prompts. And yes, I do know that AI generated music does exist right now, but what I'm talking about is like at the level where, you just say, make a pop song and it creates some Ariana Grande chart topping bullshit, and that becomes the Billboard Top 100. That is completely possible, probably in 5 years, if not shorter than that. So it's something that you're gonna have to start thinking about a little bit more than just, willy-nilly, fucking AI art's cool, it's the future, let's go. Will that affect the way that you feel about AI art as a musician? Right now, you're just taking advantage of some other technology, which is making the visual art easier for you to accomplish, but will you feel differently when it goes directly after, say, your entire album and it creates spin-offs of your album, kind of rips it off a little bit? Will you feel differently about that? It's something to consider. And also, from a fan standpoint, if we were to get to a point where you're solely creating AI art, your music is all AI generated, your album covers are all AI generated, hell, even the music videos are all AI generated off of prompts. So you're not really even designing it, you're just like typing a prompt and then you're accepting it. What is the point in supporting that? What are we supporting? Are we supporting the art? Are we supporting the person that typed the prompts? What is there to get behind and admire and reward for the hard work and dedication and effort that went into this? And really, I think this gets to the core of human nature, biological, evolutionary nature of human beings. Do we want to reduce ourselves to pieces of meat that just simply want good music for our ear holes or good art for our eye holes and don't care about any of the humanity behind it? Something we have to consider. For those of you that are new here, and it's probably most of you, just to let you know, the vibes of these videos, I'm largely like talking to myself, kind of working these things out as I think about AI art, the impacts of it. And really, in some sense, it's a single host podcast where I go into the nitty gritty stuff that artists don't want to talk about AI, and I face it. I go head first, and I take the risk of being completely wrong, of looking like an idiot, and actually even maybe disagreeing with myself right after I post a video. So topics that it's hard to know exactly how you feel about, but I try to be as rational, reasonable, and logical as I can going through these subjects. But really what I want to do with these videos is to promote and encourage the discussion of these topics in a healthy way. So much of it is so toxic, it's so combative. Also, a lot of it really dismisses the core and the heartfelt attacks that come from AI. So a lot of my points, I'm often changing my mind throughout these videos, but a lot of my points are all with the intention to promote human art, to promote humanity, to get us through this and encourage discussion throughout this crazy AI art revolution. Now, if you are concerned about the future of human artists, if you are really passionate about supporting human artists of the future, I have a super cool project to announce to you. A couple of friends and I are working on a community designed to simply support human artists of the future. So there's no AI art allowed in this community. It is solely to prop up and ensure artists who do not want to use AI art that we will continue to admire and reward you for your hard work and dedication. Now, don't have a ton of details about this community. We're keeping it a little bit hush-hush for now because it's still in development, of course, but if that is something that you are interested in, please hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss the announcement to that community. I'm Jordan Needham, this is Jham 3D, and I will catch you next time. Oh, and one last thing. Team Human, baby, let's go.